let's also bring in Rohit Kashyap, leader of Shiv Sena, who's joining us, and Sandeep Ghosh, a political commentator and author. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Rohit Kashyap, मैं आपसे पहले पूछना चाहूंगी, आप जो सब हो रहा है और ये बताया जा रहा है कि आज शाम तक डिसीजन लिया जाएगा कि असेंबली डिसॉल्व होगी कि नहीं, आप हमें क्या बता सकते हैं?
तो ये है कि अभी तक कहा जाए राष्ट्रपति जी ने कल रात में ही जो आदेश दिए थे, जो उन्होंने अपनी बात में रखा था कि इस तरीके से जो समस्या पड़ी है शिव सैनिकों को और मुझसे अलग हो चुके हैं, मैं संपर्क नहीं कर पा रहा था। तो जिसके बाद आज राष्ट्रपति जी ने कल राष्ट्रपति जी सीधे सीधे ये कहा है कि जो भी प्रॉब्लम है, जो भी शिव सैनिकों को कोई समस्या पड़ रही है, तो वो आके मुझसे डायरेक्टली मिल सकता है, मुझसे अपनी बात कर सकता है। तो कहीं ना कहीं एक बात ये भी एक सामने आती है कि जो नाराजगी कहा जाए शिव सैनिकों की थी, तो अब क्या है कि रात में उन्होंने उद्धव ठाकरे साहब ने वापसी मातोश्री की ओर कर लिया है और कहा जाए कि काफी लगाव शिव सैनिकों का मातोश्री के प्रति रहा है, क्योंकि वहां से बाला साहब की कुछ यादें जुड़ी हुई हैं और कहा जाए शिव सैनिकों का जो शुरुआती दौर है वो मातोश्री से ही है। और अब क्या है कि जो उद्धव साहब हैं वो इस वक्त मातोश्री जा चुके हैं, तो वहां पे भी अब जाने के बाद कार्यकर्ताओं में कुछ ना कुछ तो कहा जाए गतिविधि होगी और इसी के चलते कुछ ना कुछ फैसले शाम तक के कहा जाए जो फैसले होने हैं उसमें कुछ ना कुछ विचार अच्छा रहेगा।
जी बिल्कुल, हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए रोहित जी. लेट मी ऑल्सो गो अक्रॉस टू संदीप घोष एज वेल. Sandeep, your perspective on what we're seeing now, the way this has all sort of gone down, because obviously there were some serious issues within the MVA, which we've seen in the past as well, but this time round it seems that some important red flags were missed.
Yeah, red flags were missed, but where we, because MVA itself, I think, as you rightly pointed out, there were internal differences, and it was not really all hunky-dory inside the camp. The biggest issue as far as Shiv Sena ministers and the party leaders were concerned, they thought MVA was really being controlled by NCP. And if you know, within Maharashtra, it is NCP and Shiv Sena who have been on a sort of a one-on-one fight throughout the political history. So they see each other as adversaries, basically, in the at the ground level. When you go down to the districts, when you go down to the so-called shakha level, so suddenly you are first made to feel that you've been sworn enemies, become friends, and next thing you hear, you get a feeling that they are the ones who are calling the shots. They're the big brothers, and they're getting all the support in terms of not only decision finances, because Ajit Pawar was holding some of the very important ministries. So that it kind of gave them a second-class citizen sort of a feeling. And that was really the cause of unrest. Now, as we see just now, my reading is like this, slightly different from a lot of people saying. As far as Shiv Sena is concerned, I think it is a picture abhi baki hai. It is work in progress. And there, I think, really, Uddhav Thackeray's first concern is to hold the party rather than the government or the chief minister's chair. And I don't think it will be so easy for Eknath Shinde to break away and form another party. It's not easy to run a political party in our country. It requires a lot of resources apart from the physical resources on the ground. So even they would not like really a split in the party. So I anticipate some kind of an truce or understanding being worked out there, so that you can probably keep the party intact. Maybe Uddhav Thackeray will yield space to Shinde or any of his nominees, and maybe they can negotiate some kind of a alliance with BJP. But the problem is neither NCP nor Congress would like to lose power, and neither can they go into elections just now. Certainly not Congress. Congress can't afford to fight another election at this juncture. And also Sharad Pawar, apart from fighting elections, if he loses his, the toehold in the MVA, is going to also jeopardize his national stature just now in a very crucial time when there is opposition unity. and other things being done. So they will try their best to prevent this thing. I wouldn't go too much by these numbers which you're quoting, because numbers, as we are seeing, despite people saying new people have joined, they're still stuck at 34, 36. We really don't know how many are there. And as you might call it a conspiracy theory, I said some of these people who are actually going could also be Trojan horses or more.
Yes.
Because Uddhav Thackeray's team doesn't have access, are not able to reach out to these guys. So some of these people who are going, who are close to them, may actually try to influence the legislators. So the real test will be when they come back to Bombay and go to the floor of the House, and you will see a lot of action between that. And that is what Uddhav Thackeray is playing up, the emotional card, the Matushri card, trying to rally the ranks, on that way, and almost make these people appear as traitors. So those will be crucial action.
Right.
So it's too early days to make a call.
Yes, absolutely, Sandeep. Do stay on. I'd like to come back to you in a minute. But Rohit, Kashyap, आपसे मैं पूछना चाहूंगी, आपके हिसाब से यहाँ पर क्या गलत गया? क्योंकि obviously there were issues और काफी ऐसे लीडर्स थे जो खुश नहीं थे शिवसेना में. ये उद्धव ठाकरे could not see it.
देखिए, सबसे बड़ी बात कही जाए कि देखिए संगठन में कार्यकर्ता को जोड़ के रखना और प्लस कहा जाए कि उनके साथ में गतिविधियों को भी ध्यान में रखना, तो कहा जाए कि अब शिवसेना पार्टी कुछ कार्यकर्ताओं पे सीमित नहीं है. शिवसेना पार्टी का आज समझ लीजिए आज पूरे इंडिया में हर जगह पे शाखाएं हैं, हर जगह कार्यकर्ताएं हैं. तो कहीं ना कहीं अब जब इतनी बड़ी संख्या है तो कहीं ना कहीं छोटी मोटी दिक्कतें आती हैं.
Okay, all right. Sandeep, coming back to you, just taking forward the point that you mentioned earlier, this clearly is a complete mess, in terms of, first of all, this entire MVA was not even the mandate that the people had given. And now, once again, we are seeing this whole turmoil happening here. But just to see if I've understood you correctly, you believe that we might see a situation where the entire Shiv Sena sort of now decides to sort of, collaborate with and ally with the BJP once again. Is that a possibility that we are seeing?
External support or various things, none of them, this dissolution of the assembly is also, I think, a false threat. Even if they recommend dissolution of the assembly, Shiv Sena alone can't do it. He has to have the support of Congress and NCP to recommend that. And as you pointed out earlier, that even if they do, the government has this prerogative to see the assembly about whether another government can be formed, and they can go back to BJP at that juncture. And in that situation, if BJP gets the support of this breakaway group, and if they have crossed the 37 magic number, then BJP definitely is in a position to form a government. So these are all very, tricky situations they'll have to balance through. Taking back to a cue from the question you asked our friend from Shiv Sena, I think the problem in terms of communication within Shiv Sena has been twofold. Uddhav Thackeray has been out of action because of his health reasons. So he has been out of touch, and he has been, dependent on some of the people close to him for information. And secondly, somebody pointed out to me, earlier when there was a Shiv Sena government in Bal Thackeray's time, and you had a different chief minister. In that situation, people could easily come back to Bal Thackeray and lodge their complaints or dissatisfaction about the chief minister, whether it was Narayan Rane or Joshi. But today, with Uddhav Thackeray being the chief minister and his son being really the second in command, nobody could come back and give any, negative feedback to him. So that's where the communication, I think, on the chain broke. And that's why you've got into this sort of a mess.
Right. Right. And Sandeep, just a word on Sharad Pawar here, because obviously, knowing the way he has been, he's not going to sit quiet and just let things unfold. He obviously usually has plans, in his mind as to how things should unfold and what role he wants to play. How do you look at that aspect?
Sharad Pawar, in this particular case, I think he was also taken a bit unprepared or by surprise. And so he's having to really maneuver his way through, navigate through this situation. But he is a very, very, as you know, a shrewd and politician who's always managed to deal through such stuff. So he will be really the brain behind, I think, Uddhav Thackeray to guiding him from a distance. And I repeat myself again that I don't think for him, he would like this government to fall at any cost. Because then at this juncture, as you see today, he is kind of the pivot of the so-called opposition, spectrum. Now, that position will get jeopardized, and his locus standi there will be seriously compromised. So you'll find people like Arvind Kejriwal becoming more important in the opposition firmament and also Congress than Sharad Pawar himself. So he would try his best to see, and he's playing it very clever by saying it's an internal matter of Shiv Sena, let them sort it out. But he will try his best to see that works out. And even if his government, falls, then all these people of his party who are behind bars or under investigation, that will also become, they will also become much more exposed. So he has a lot at stake.
Absolutely. Sandeep Ghosh, Rohit Kashyap, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective.